G'day everybody, my name's James Merchant, and today Andy has asked if I can share with you my cricket collecting passion, which is ceramics. I've been collecting ceramics now for cricket ceramics at least for over 25 years, and before that it was Olympic Games and horse racing and various other sporting themes. So collecting's in my blood. Ceramics are a real passion of mine because I really like the way they look. I like the luster, I like the art that they represent. And I love the fact that you can learn about potteries and learn about designers and learn about events that they represent. So I like to take that learning and share that with people, and rarely do I own an item that I don't research in depth to understand its history. So what I'd like to do today is share with you some of the things that I've got on display in my office. It makes me feel good to come in and sit and work from home every day of the week, some weekends as well, and just be able to turn over and look over my shoulder and see the things I love. And you know, there's probably 10 times the amount sitting in storage in plastic boxes, but I do like to have my favourite things around me, and for that I'd like to share some of those with you today. Okay, let's start with a favourite of mine, Bradman character jugs. You'll see that these two in the middle are a bit unique in that they're the same, only they're different. They're the granddaddies of the Bradman Toby jugs. So these little fellows were made in 1934 in a pottery in Brisbane, and they were marketed as a test souvenir jug. I've got all the details from the archives about their patent and their registration. The one on the right is said to be a prototype. Somebody once said to me, no, more likely a Friday night job, because they just didn't have time to paint him. He is glazed and he's beautiful too, and very, very unique. I'm told the only one that exists. So probably seen 6 or 7 of the one on the left in my time of collecting, so still very hard to find, but they're stoneware, they're lovely. Across to the right is a 1958 version of the jug, copy of the jug, with its own glazing. This is really unique and beautiful glazing. Hard to see probably in this light, but absolutely beautiful, maybe if I stand there. It's brown. There's one other known, and it's green. It's in the Bradman collection at the South Australian Cricket Ground, the other one. The pottery specialised in this glaze, and they also made a point of only doing 1 or 2 items and then moving on to something else. So that's well documented, so I'm very pleased, as Andy would say, to have that in the collection. The one down the end, I don't know where it comes from. I don't know what age it is. It's another copy. It's much heavier. I'm told by pottery experts it's of a similar age. You know, it's sort of anywhere from 1930s to 1950s. So I found it in an auction and had to have it, of course. And then, as we all know, the Japanese will probably all know, you've seen these, I'm sure, the Japanese flooded the Australian market and the New Zealand market in 1936. They made a copy of the original 1934 jug, and these you can find any day of the week on eBay, particularly the green ones. The brown ones are a bit harder to find. I've got 4 examples here, all different obviously, but there are 2 other small brown jugs, and you can find them with a green tip at the front of the cap and a yellow bat, or a yellow tip at the front of the cap and a green bat. So I've got those, but they're not in my cabinet at the moment. Just moving down, this is a bit of a highlight shelf for me. These are made by Royal Dalton, called the All Black Team Series Wear, sometimes referred to as Black Boys. You can actually buy the Black Boy series wear in this fine bone china or in earthenware, a much rawer sort of look, the earthenware, but it does command about 20% more in auctions, so earthenware being more valuable. But earthenware just comes in standard sizes, whereas this fine bone china comes in miniatures as well as the standard size. And I love the miniatures. The miniatures are more valuable than the bigger plates at the back, for example. A lot of people ask me, you know, which particular, there are 7 vignettes. You can see the boss and I wasn't ready very clearly. In the back there, ready for chances, out for a duck. What's that one? That's ready for chances. Sorry, I wasn't ready. Their style, good for 50. And over here we've got next man in. So there are 7 of them, and I've got all 7 across this collection, but there's no different value in terms of the vignette, but there is different value in terms of the shapes. Plates are a bit cheaper, and the miniatures, particularly with the unique shapes, are more expensive. So yeah, it's about the shape, not about the vignette. Beautiful collection. I wish I could get more, but they're not the sort of thing that you can buy every day. I particularly like this one though, given the colours of it. Most of them are reddish tops, but look at that one for ready for chances. Moving down back into Bradman Heartland for me. We've got the Colport figurine on the right from the 80s, and these beautiful Newhall pottery examples of Bradman. Now, obviously there are 6 or 7 players, 2 Australians and the rest Englishmen that feature in this series. And some collectors will be familiar with the jug and familiar with the plaque, but I think, I could be proven wrong, but I believe that only the plate was only marketed in Australia, and I've only ever seen it with Bradman or Bill Woodfull image on it. The Bradman image is from Lord's in 1930. The 1938 plate of Bradman, centenary of centuries plate, a Wedgwood and a shearcaster figurine, or Endurance, they changed their name. I might just move across to the top of this cabinet where we've got some Burleyware vases. 3 on the right are from 1930. So you'll see there's an example of a white one with a blue cap, a plain yellow one, and a yellow one with a green cap. You'll find all sorts of variations with this 3rd one. Many different colour caps and different colour hoops. I think I've got 6 different variations in that one. And there's also a blue one from 1935 in this series. The pottery obviously did okay, because in 1960 they decided to do another one, which was in stoneware. So much heavier, this one, and only came in this one size and one colour, the English colours. And it has a different stamp on the bottom, and you can easily verify what era they're from based on the stamp at the bottom. And then in 1999, believe it or not, they did 4 more. 2 different sizes this time, a smaller one. And you can see that the yellow one has a blue cap and the white one has a green Australian cap. These are actually more expensive and harder to find than the 1935 one, so good luck trying to find all 4 of those. One of my favourite themes at the moment is what's called the Brownies, and these are based on books by a guy called Palmer Cox, who wrote a number of books about the adventures of the Brownies. And around the turn of the century, Royal Winton, through their Grimwades brand, either commissioned Palmer Cox to do a cricket scene and a number of other sporting scenes like golf and soccer, or their artists decided to take a bit of liberty with Palmer Cox's intellectual property. And there are actually 14 vignettes, different vignettes in this series, in the cricket series, and you can see the number of them on display here. The jug has all 14 on it when you are covering both sides. I think this mug may also have all 14 on it, but the little jug has 5, and I think there may be 8 on this cup and 1 on the little plate at the back. So really nice little items, I think. A little bit of Australiana next to them. I'm not sure why I did that, but maybe I just don't have enough room. The mugs at the back are a pottery called Diana, and you can see that there's a batsman on one side, a bowler on the other. Cute little story is the batsman is supposed to represent Don Bradman, and the bowler is supposed to represent the owner of the pottery. And also you'll see the one on the far right is a little bit more intricate and a bit more detailed. There was one particular artist who liked to outline the figures on the art that she did, so you can see the paths beautifully outlined, for example. That's a particularly rare example. They're all hard to find from 1951, but the one on the right, I've never seen any others, but the artist is well known for having done that on a series of wares that came out of that pottery. Little kangaroos, I love the kangaroos. They come with a variety of scarves. A lot of people think that the scarves represent test nations. I am really desperate to find one with a yellow scarf. I know of two that collectors have, so they are out there. But there's also one with a blue scarf with white polka dots, so I'm not sure who that might be. Maybe somebody's got an idea. And the little soap dishes, they're actually identical shapes. They've got a number imprinted on the back of them, the same number. I believe they're German made now. I've been really trying hard to research who made those. And a mug, a tribute to the Don from 1980 by a Western Australian potter. Where we go now? Next shelf down, actually some gollyware, cricket gollyware, both from the 50s and the 80s. I'm building on that. You can see a space at the back ready for my next mail delivery. I love these Kinsella figurines. Collection of 6. Hard to find. You do see them in auction, often damaged, but hard to find. I could look at them all day, inspired to get them by a good collecting friend who'd be watching this, so thanks, Pete. And below that are a series of, well, Bradman character jugs made in Australia at the Bendigo Pottery. They actually came out in all sorts of different colour variations, and I just couldn't resist. My friend Pete always says you've got to be mad, because if there's a blue one, you buy that, and if there's a slightly different blue, you buy that, and that's just what collectors do. The white one in the middle was done just a few years ago because the pottery found the mould, and they just did 35 of those and gave me #1 actually for helping them. So I think I might convince them to do one with a blue cap one day, or a red cap, you never know. Where we go to from there? I think these are kind of nice. They're really modern, 2006, and you'll recognise the artwork as Brian Clinton's artwork. The Bradford Exchange used that artwork, or commissioned Brian to do it, and they put about 80 items out from 1997 through to 2006. So these were the last, which probably explains why they're so rare. I'm only aware of one other set of 6, and you just don't see them on the secondary market. An example of a modern day collectible, and a really nice classy example. So maybe just finally have a look at some Ashes items. This is the MCG Centenary Test. The gold stein was given to players, and this one actually belonged to Jeff Boycott. Wouldn't have been my first choice of player to get it, but I was more interested in the mug than the player, so you never know, I might get Greg Chappell or Dennis Lilly one day, or the very brave Rick McCoscar. And a couple of other Ashes items. These 1934 restaurant dish given to players. Next one along with the Ashes, and at the back with the Tankarder's Sandlandware. And 1926, another hotel, and Royal Dalton and Franklin Mint at the back. I think that's probably covers what I'd like to share with you today. A couple of modern Bunnikin things here. I change a lot of this over. I like to just have different things to look at when I'm in the office, but I'll leave that for you today, and I'll just come back and say goodbye. Okay, so Andy, hopefully you and your audience have enjoyed a bit of a look at my cricket ceramics collection. I know there are a lot better cricket ceramics collections in the world, and I know some of those collectors, and I really am envious of them. But that's what I've got, and it continues to build. And more importantly, I continue to learn about these ceramics and document that. And I'm really grateful for the assistance I've received from a lot of people who will be watching this video from both Australia and the UK. And I hope that I can do your contributions proud when the book comes out. So without further ado, thank you again. Hopefully I can come back another time and share some books or other bits and pieces that I collect with you, characters or cartoons or advertising. This is always something, right? But for those of you in one part of the world, good evening. For those of you in the other part of the world, good morning. And I wish you great success in collecting, and safety in these times. Cheers.